I think we're about to go live. So I won't do any welcomes to people online because there's no one watching yet. But I would like to welcome, we do have some people online already that are going to be part of the meeting today. So a warm welcome to you. Just a reminder to everyone that we're here in a respectful place. So if we can keep our comments to each other respectful, then I won't have to stop any conversations that are happening, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Okay, I think that is about it, and we are live now. So I'm sending a warm welcome to people that are watching online. All right, we will start today's meeting with our apologies, and I have apologies from Michelle Lomax. Do we have any from Tim? No? No. Okay, do I have a mover for Michelle? Sunita and Jackie, all in favour? Good, thank you. Okay, declarations of interest. Do we have any for today? Nope. And confirmation of previous minutes. Do I have somebody that would like to move those minutes? Thanks, Jackie. In a second.
Happy to see.
Thank you, Daryl. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, we start our meetings with public forum. So it's when we will ask people to come to the front of the room and they have 5 minutes to speak about whatever they would like to bring to the board. So our first public forum today is the Y Christchurch, and that is the Raise Up Youth Development Project. And I believe we have Brittany with us for that. Tim, hello, welcome. Brittany, come on down. So, if you could just sit at the end and make sure that your microphone, just at the table, and just make sure that the microphone is on. So it's a little person. If you press the button, it's a little person. Perfect. And Brittany, you have 5 minutes. And if you would like time for questions at the end, then if you could leave time, that would be fantastic.
Cool. That sounds good. Oh, awesome. The presentation's all lined up. So yeah, Tina Koto Katoa, thank you guys for allowing me to speak here as part of this meeting. So my name is Brittany and I am the youth coordinator at the Y Christchurch, or the YMCA. We recently rebranded. And I am here, I guess, to introduce this new youth development program called Raise Up. Just so that when you see us starting to pop up at events and see our flags going up around the place, you kind of have at least one face to put to the name of this project. And also, I think this is something to really celebrate in the community. So I'll just run you through what Raise Up is, and then I'll leave some kind of questions and things as well. Awesome. So our mission statement for Raise Up is to give young people a safe and healthy environment in which to build life skills that give them confidence in themselves and their future. And Raise Up is, as a youth development program, was born in Auckland, and it has been running there successfully for about 20 years. And a decision from the YMCA was to expand this across all the associations across the motu, and make this into something that can be rolled out in all these different cities. So how does it work? I guess having this, we work with young people from the ages of 13 to 18 in high schools, and they work towards these endorsements. And I think for like a similarity in mind would be maybe like the Duke Edinburgh is like slightly similar, but the basis of Raise Up is really about community involvement and engagement, and giving and facilitating volunteering opportunities for our rangatahi, allowing them to build the skills they need to run events for other youth in the community, so for their peers. And it is a program that can carry them pretty much through their entire high school journey from year 9 to 13. It kind of depends where they start with us, but we've got lots of opportunities for them to get different endorsements and then for them to come back and mentor younger peers after they have graduated. Cool. So Ototahi crew, I reckon this is the best crew in the Motu. This is my crew. We meet on Mondays from 4 until 6. Each crew has space for 20. Our crew currently sit at 11 and we started in term 2 of this year. Our meetings on Mondays are all about building connection and facilitating those sort of conversations and workshops around what events do our rangatahi want to be hosting, what community projects do they want to get involved in, and what workshops do they want to run for each other. We also have lots of kai, lots of laughs, lots of activities. Our highlight of the year, we've just started, we're very much in our like training wheel stages, but I've definitely noticed that we've got lots of connection of our 11 crew members. None of them are from the same high school. So it's really cool to see all these people from different kura coming together and being able to connect. Our events and activities have definitely enhanced that as well. I guess my kind of like kaupapa, something that I'm passionate about is like collaborating with other organisations in Christchurch. So far we've collaborated with Sustainable Coastlines, with Youthline, with Forest and Bird, and also actually with the City Council. They're running a series of their Kia Rite Hoia workshops with us, which has been really awesome. And I guess being able to pull in from other organisations allows our young people to have a look at lots of different career opportunities in the community. We know that our young people want to see really sustainable, safe, playful and vibrant communities. And we also know that organising events in their local space, whether that be in the city or in the suburbs, brings this really great sense of ownership and pride. And we're already starting to see that with more young people coming into the city to hang out, which is really positive. These are just some of the events we've done so far. We did a community beach cleanup in South New Brighton. We've done a baking workshop. We did some tree planting at the Waimakariri. Yeah, all sorts of things. And our youth development framework is mana enhancing or positive youth development based on these 4 principles. Generosity, which is giving young people a chance to serve in their communities. Belonging and identity, we have a focus on whakapapa, exploring whakapapa, and belonging to the group. Achievement and competence looks like giving them a chance to do things themselves. And responsibility and influence means they get to have a voice in what they do. Our challenges of the year have really just been getting the word out about Raise Up and just becoming more recognisable to funders. Like we sit under the wide umbrella, but we are a unique thing. And we're still, and I guess this is me as like a pretty fresh youth worker, getting to know like the needs and strengths of our community so that we can have a really good feel for what's already there and what we can enhance. Cool, it was good timing, I think.
Perfect. No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the work that you are doing for our youth. It's really, really positive stuff. I have one quick question. Do youth get involved with this? Thank you. Do youth get involved with this through their high schools? Is it, yeah, how do they get?
Yeah, that's a good question. So our recruitment process initially looked like me contacting high school and interested students go through an application process, which is sending in a form and then having an initial chat with me, and I get a feel for their commitment and their capacity to really want to do it and be passionate about it. But moving forward, I guess recruitment is going to probably continue to be based on connecting in with high schools, but I have also noticed a bit of a need from homeschooled young people that they also really need these opportunities to connect. So yeah, I'm looking to get into a few more of the kind of homeschooling forums to show that this is something that we want them to come along to.
Cool. Yeah, that's really very cool. Questions? No more questions. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. And yeah, looking forward to seeing events pop up. And you will be our first face, but I'm sure we'll meet many more.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Okay, moving on now to our second public forums. And we have our Irish students on placement with Te Whare Rua Mata. So please make your way to, I was going to say the stage, it's on the stage, the table. So you'll just need to press the wee button that makes it go green. Yep, that one. Perfect. Cool. Thank you so much for being with us. Again, you have 5 minutes, and if you'd like questions at the end, there's some time.
Kia ora, mauri ki te whenua, mauri ki te whare, mauri ki ngā iwi, ngā hapu, ngā whānau, mauri ki ngā tamariki, mauri ki ngā tangata katoa, ngā wākato o tīrei mauri ora. Nei te whakatauki o tēnei kōrero, waiho e te toipoto, kao e te toiroa. Roughly translated, it's the whakatauki that means let us draw closer together and not far apart. And I invite you all to sort of let that wisdom sort of anchor into your mind as we go through our kōrero today. We decided on this whakatauki because I think it highlights the value of community and the strength of community, the right to community. And as we go through some of the things that we found through our investigations, the threat to community. Who are we? We are a group of students, social work students, we're parents, we're workers, we're support workers, we're tangata Pacifica and tangata whenua. And we've been working alongside Te Whare Rua Mata to investigate the social issues around intensification in the inner city eastern neighbourhoods and West Linwood. Hi, kia ora, over the key.
Sorry, kind of musical chairs. Thank you.
So our purpose today in coming, it's twofold. One is to present to you the summary of the findings from the work that's been undertaken, and that's involved those people who've been displaced. It's also involved going to hear what locals have got to say about what they see going on in terms of intensification, and the information that we gathered from a hui that was held with representatives of community organisations who worked with people from the neighbourhood around housing issues. So that's one of our reasons. Our other reason is to raise awareness about the social impact the present approach to intensification is having on this particular neighbourhood, an area which has traditionally housed single low-income people in private rental housing since early European settlement, and to particularly make visible to you the special challenges the single poor who are displaced private rental space when they don't qualify high enough for social housing.
So what are we seeing? Profit-making developers are buying up the older, affordable private rental housing stock, which house low-income people, to create more intense housing developments. Replacement housing is targeted at high-income earners, while public housing has resulted in a number of social housing complexes being built where people with high needs are housed together. Growing demand is pushing up rents on existing housing stock. This is making rents unaffordable for the single poor. Seeing loss of affordable private rental housing, which is resulting in people displaced from the inner city east community in a neighborhood where a number of social agencies are located. The single poor is being pushed out of the outskirts of the city to be housed in the hostels, being held up in dormitory-style backpackers, living in night shelters or emergency accommodation, perhaps sleeping around the neighborhood or couch surfing. We're also seeing the ripple effect of this, where a number of people who are already couch surfing their friends are being forced to leave due to pending demolition, increased vulnerability for people who have been displaced, once prone to be displaced again. The impact of health and well-being, stressful situations are creating increasing anxiety and depression. the return to addiction, less helpful ways of coping, and loss of community, loss of support, loss of networks is clearly felt. Added to these impacts are the rise of slumlord landlords, destitute house, the racism mostly clearly expressed by Maori and Pacifica. The size and scale of development, where once there was a single house on a piece of land with room to play, grow your own garden, enjoy your privacy, now it's multiple units in that piece of land with nowhere to do all these things. The changing dynamic within the community is as newer high-income residents and older residents learn to live together. Kia ora.
This is the paradox of intensification. While we're not opposed to growing upwards, given the climate crisis we face, we particularly like to see the current planning focus on a compact city shift to planning to create a just city, where the focus of intensification is on social equity and urban justice, ensuring the housing needs of the most vulnerable are put at the centre of all planning decisions around intensification. Qualifying rules being extended from the current focus on the physical, environmental and heritage to include social reasons as a justification for restricting development. Replacement housing to be required to include a percentage of units set aside for low-income users. Social impact assessment to be undertaken before the district plan is endorsed. And population growth looks to be accommodated first by focusing on housing people in the central city of the end of the area south of the city centre.
Yeah, just to wrap things up, for us and for a lot of us in the community, this is our hood. This is where we grew up in. It's always been east for us. This is how we show pride and love to where we're from. And again, wanting to leave you with the whakatauki, waiho te toi poto, kawe te toi roa, let us draw closer together and not far apart.
Thank you so much, and thank you. That was impassioned and it meant something. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I know we have a few questions, so please don't run away. But yeah, I know it's hard to speak like that, but you're amazing. So thank you. And yeah, really appreciate all the points that you brought up, and it's very important stuff that you've been working on. So thank you. Thank you, Jim. I have one question from Jake.
Sure, that was really powerful, and we always really appreciate seeing people from inner city east, an area close to my heart, obviously, as local councillor. Obviously, with intensification, there's a social justice element to more housing and bringing down the cost of housing. Is what you're saying no intensification, but concentrate it in the city core more strongly?
We are, Jake, because what the reality is, you are destroying housing for the most vulnerable to be replaced with people who have no choice.
Sure.
And that's why we're talking about a just city, which puts that at the centre, and you build your city around it. And you look to the areas that at the moment where you can grow quite okay without causing the displacement of youth.
And just to clarify that, you don't see that as greenfields, suburban parts of Christchurch, but it's actually a laser focus on increasing density, particularly within the 4X.
I think the sense is that there is still, was it the 2014 district plan that identified there was a big sway of the area that could be looked at as a result of the quakes, and look to build that area up, as well as what has been described in the plan around the arterial roads.
Sure.
I think it's a combination, Jake, but at the moment you've got, it goes right across the city, and you're not, in that process, you don't always understand the particular sub-housing markets. If I use that word for the inner city east, that is what it is, because it is housed single poor right from European settlement, and that has been eroded in this process, and people are being displaced. And as we've heard from Poe, the significant impact that it has for people.
But it's, yeah, it's.
And the other, I mean, I guess in saying that, the other bit is, we understood that there's been no social impact assessment done as of yet. And that's really worrying, because you haven't looked to see what the consequences are going to be. You can already begin to learn from Auckland, you know, with some of the things that are happening in Auckland. We're not too late to do it here.
And you're aware we're considering this next week, so it's.
We are.
Assessment though could be something we could amend on the day, so thanks.
Thanks, Jake. Darryl?
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much for your passionate advocacy related to the housing intensification topic. When you say people are being displaced, do you mean they will be displaced as a result of the policy, or they're being displaced now?
They're being displaced now because once there was a bed sit, building that wanted to house 6 people, that building has been knocked down and up by multiple units. Those people are now looking to find housing of a similar type that they had and a similar amount of money. And we're talking particularly the group of people who don't qualify for social housing, because what we're talking about is the single poor, economically poor. And as a consequence, the ripple effect, as Poe talked about, you see you move into one bed sit, and one of our case studies talks about the fact one person moved into that bed sit. That was bold. He then goes and finds another place to live, thinks he can put down roots. That's now bold. And so he becomes more and more vulnerable in terms of housing. Just like people have been made redundant. Once you've been made redundant once, you're often very vulnerable to being made redundant more than once.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Beth, and thank you for your presentation. I've been doing a bit of work around board on the impact of Airbnb, etc. So I have a little familiarity, even though I live somewhere else. What I'd like to know is, what would your solution for the inner city east area look like that catered for the needs that are being spoken of?
Well, that's why we're talking about your qualifying meters. There is there room for social meters to be considered in that, so that market or an area, which is you've got the physical, you've got the environmental and the heritage.
Yeah.
Can you also look at some social areas that maybe are particularly designated for protection? We're also saying that this is the American model, that when you do development, you're intensifying, you're making certain that each new development has to include a percentage of a low income housing to accommodate some of the loss that happens.
So what you're looking at is it a balance of protection of what's there now
Yes.
and building new with a proportion of that correctly designed? I'm just trying to.
Yeah, no, and we also say that you have got, like, I think the government's been toying with this as being how you might support private renters, home landowners, to be able to buy, to build with the idea of building not necessarily social housing, but for that other group of people who are the low income people we're talking about, because they're the ones that are really missing out. And do you want to talk about the whole thing, the issue of accommodation supplement in rent? This is where you see the disparity.
Yeah, definitely. So there are research looking at the sort of average or medium rent prices in this area that we're talking about.
Keep going.
Yeah, and then the difference between that and what a single poor person might receive on the benefit, even with accommodation supplement, which maxes out at $79. There's still a huge disparity to access private housing in this community, in their community.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Yanni?
Yeah, thank you so much for the work that you've done, and it's really, nice to welcome you here and hear from you. And I guess, Jenny, this won't be any surprise to you, because for as long as I've been on this community board, this has been like one of the key issues that the inner city east has raised, even before the earthquake, and especially post-earthquake, because all that evidence then showed the risk of the lower sectional areas being impacted and disadvantaged the most. But I just wanted to see if you were aware of the Greater Christchurch Spatial Plan and the Urban Growth Partnership and the Affordable and Social Housing Plan that is being worked on. Right. So I wonder if there's a way to get you connected into that process, because the things that you're talking about, like there are solutions, but it's just whether or not the right people are hearing from the people that are impacted to change their mind about doing something that makes sense. And you talked about the inclusionary zoning. So I think, yeah, if you're not aware of it, maybe the board can help facilitate getting more involvement.
Solutions.
Yeah, and then the only other question I wanted to ask is, like, from your research, and I don't quite know the geographic area, how much was the physical environment a sort of factor? You touched briefly on the loss of places for people to play, and the loss of green space and the environment. And obviously on the end of the day, we've also got a plan to upgrade the village, but we don't have enough money, so there's options to de-scope it. But I just wondered if you had any reflection on the importance of how the physical environment or the built environment is designed and what that means for people.
Yes, so through our research and our engagement with the community, what we found was that a lot of these, a lot of our whānau might have 1, 2, 3, 4 generations living in the one place, highlighting the need for, yes, more housing, but appropriate housing as well. As far as the sort of environmental factors, I don't think you need to look far to see the pollution that the locals of this community are sort of riddled with. Really unsanitary areas, lots of litter in different places as well, ultimately making it an unsafe place to play if you're a kid. And there's definitely room for improvement there within the environmental factors.
Thank you. And I've just got one more question with Sarah.
Nā mihi koutou I tō koutou korera. Thanks for the conversation there. I'm just wondering, so with the decision that we've got coming out next week at council, saying no to that wouldn't protect what's currently there, because currently under the current rules, for example, we're seeing a lot of intensification. All it does is mean that people wouldn't need a consent for certain plans. So it would need a whole new district plan change to do protections, if you like, for those places. In the meantime, council has a community housing strategy, not just a social housing strategy these days. And so I'm wondering if there's space for council to be. We have explored some lower cost community housing things. It's been difficult, leasehold land, those kind of things. But maybe trying to target an area like this in that community housing strategy, and it might be even that council develop something that's specifically for low income as opposed to social housing in partnership, those kind of things, instead through that current strategy. But it would take a whole new district plan change to do protections for current, because clearly the current rules allow intensification.
The qualifying metal for the new rules would.
Qualifying metal only just means you wouldn't get
Any more,
it doesn't protect what's there. It still means you just need a consent for it. So that's all. It wouldn't actually making it a qualifying matter only means you'd need consent. So, which would be probably granted.
Thanks, Sarah. Look, well, thank you so much for coming today, and obviously next week is the week at council. We really appreciate you coming, and this is obviously on YouTube as well, so share away if you would like to, because I think what you've brought up is some really valuable kororo today. So thank you so much, and yeah, we'll see you around. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We
just got, oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. That's fantastic.
Thank you,
Thank you. See you.
I just want to take an action with a week, also
We don't do it.
send a copy of the YouTube clip to the local members of parliament, and because central government has a huge role to play.
Oh, brilliant. We can do that. So easy.
My expert.
I don't know, but being quite distant. Yeah.
Motions and potions make up, just very clever.
Okay, so we are moving on to our third public forum now, and this is the Eid Festival. So we have Mohammed, Narat, and Alan here with us. Which is fine. Thank you for being with us. And I think you have a video presentation as well. Did you want to do that first? Or? Okay, perfect.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mohammed Abdel. I'm a GP at Linwood Medical Center, and I'm a part of SDAP. We sat in front of this community board a year ago, searching for support for our community projects and trying to find a home for our cultural center. And we sat here this year to express our gratitude for the support that has been given and still ongoing by Christchurch City Council. Thanks to the Linwood-Central-Heathcote community governance team, we've been able to successfully hold Eid al-Fitr festival that took place at the Commons on Kilmer Street this May, and it was one of its kind. Just generated heartwarming feelings, not only within the Muslim communities, but also with Muslim and non-Muslim community member alike. And before we share the short montage, would like to say that we have learned a lot and we've come so far, and we understand that ahead of us is a long way to reach our goals. And we intend to keep serving the Muslim community with the festivals, with the Eid al-Fitr festivals that Christchurch can be proud of every year. And we are indeed, the planning for the Eid al-Fitr 2023 is already in progress. It's going to be at Higley's Park. We would like to keep the communication open with this board. We'd like for you to keep kind of brotherly sister, look out, an eye out on us, keep in tune with our achievements, our progress going. And again, thank you so much. And we truly appreciate all the support and appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the video.
Thank you.
Oh, was it coming out of them? Oh, too late.
و میونه دوتا چشمون قشنگه نونه کرده
I don't know what the microphone's not working.
شط و موهای سیاهت
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Kiora. Good afternoon. Hi, hello. Eid Mubarak. Saeed alaikum jami'an. Welcome to the annual Eid festival brought to you
lovingly by the Asterlab Cultural Center and Christchurch City Council. The celebration of Eid for us is a celebration of joy, a celebration of happiness, and a celebration of gratitude. While we share all of that with loved ones, what we used to do behind closed doors, today we want to gift it to the wider community of Christchurch. So we build the new bridges of love, of understanding, of empathy towards each other. It is the laughter of the kids around, the blessings of the elderly, strengthening our bonds, forgiving and welcoming new beginnings. We are here today to gift you lovingly, generously with our culture. Please accept this humble, modest gift from us and please enjoy it. Every year, for the 9th month of the Hijri year or the moon year, which is the month of Ramadan, we fast as a Muslim nation community for 29 or 30 days, it depends on moon sighting. But why we fast? Do you know why we fast, guys?
Ramadan is a special month. It's one of the pillars of Islam. That's why we fast. And to me, I believe that Ramadan purifies the soul. And it's not only stopping drinking and eating from sunrise to sunset, but it also helps to purify the soul and helps people to heal others, and heal with the needy and the deprived world. It's a special month for all of us, and that's why we also ended with celebrating Eid.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and thank you for the gift that you have given to the people of Christchurch. I think we still have a lot more bridges that we need to be building, and I think that you are helping connect those. So thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we are now moving on to our last public forum. And we have the Shoreline Youth Trust, and I think we have Chris. Chris? Do we have more than Chris? Welcome.
And Harris. Oh, he's leaving. Oh.
Oh, you can do whatever you like. Fabulous. And just a reminder that you have 5 minutes. We're obviously going a little over time today, but 5 minutes, time for questions, and we are recording on YouTube and running it live today as well. So maybe if you start by introducing all of yourselves, that would be amazing. Thank you.
My name is Chris Jensen. I'm the board chair of Shoreline Youth Trust based in Summit. I'm also the director of leadership lab, the relationship as well. Yeah, nice to see you.
Kia ora. Well, Katarina Jones, toko ingoa. I'm just on the board. I'm here to support. Yeah.
Kia I'm Gareth. I'm the manager of Linwood Trust. Hello there.
Yeah, Modi ora e te iwi. My name is Micah and I'm the program coordinator.
Kia ora.
Just checking mask.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, good everybody. Thanks for your time. We've just got a little slideshow here, but basically we've got an idea we'd like to share with you, see what you think of it. Just 3 slides. The first one is, I think you probably know if you're on the cultural views. Gareth, you want to just put in some ways?
Sure.
Who we are?
Yeah, so Shoreline Youth Trust or Youth Centre has been in Sumner for 21 years now. It's incredible. We've been serving 3 local schools and the Bays area and serving young people. So it's a project that we had, which is sort of our main project, is our open session. The young people can come and build up their exposure. Our second project, as you can see, is the schoolwork. It's the 3 local schools. We do holiday programs 8 weeks a year, which keep us very busy. And our 4th project is the Kōtaka Youth Education Program, which we run with the former Vanish College. Number 5 is general community development and events.
Next slide, please. So it's interesting. I live in Heathcote, but do go around to Sumner to surf and coffees and things like that. And Sumner's a bit different than you expect if you don't live there. There are a lot of issues going on there. There's a whole lot of general wellbeing issues that probably all young people face. And we deal a lot with that. We deal with sort of late primary school age through the secondary school. But there's also some really severe mental health issues out there. And let's be frank, there's some suicide as well, which is probably our main goal to eliminate. The third one that's going on at the moment, and probably more aware of it than us, but the library usage and the young people in the library is causing big problems at the moment for the librarians, and we've had a lot of conversations with them. And of course, the skate park development and where that's tracking. And also the fact that it's such a sort of a visitor place, some of the population that goes 10-fold and 20-fold, especially in summer. So all of these things create kind of the work we do with young people. But the other thing for us is we've been in the building next to Plank for 21 years, and we got given notice 2 months ago by the property was sold, and the new owners it's not too well to stay there. So that's led to a sort of a search around the area and looking at different options where we might go. And we kind of ended up in your place across the road. So I'll go to the next slide. We obviously been into the library quite a bit. We've been upstairs, we had a good look around, and basically we're interested in partnering with the council to manage and activate the space. It feels like a lot more could happen there than there is at the moment. We'd obviously be really keen to use parts of it sometimes in the week, the things we already do, but we've also got a lot of other ideas of how that place could be used for the wider community. There's obviously, we have relationships with the other users who are there already, but there's a lot of space for other things. And we're thinking our age, but also younger children, but also elderly people, middle age, and all that sort of thing. We've had conversations with other users and the library in particular, and we think we could probably put together a proposal to manage and activate that space. So I guess what we're asking you is, what do you think of that idea? And if you think it's worth exploring, could you do whatever it takes to make it happen? So,
Oh, kia ora. Thank you so much. That sounds like a great idea. But as well, again, thank you for the work that you are doing with the youth, and it's hard to hear that there's really bad mental health and wellbeing issues happening out in that neck of the woods. But yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of everywhere at the moment, isn't it? So thank you for highlighting that to us though as well. Do I have questions? Daryl.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for the stark clarity that you articulated particularly with respect to the fact that there are social issues in summer, because quite often I hear the message that we tend to live with silver spoons in our mouth out in summer, and that there are not necessarily a lot of issues because it's a higher socio-economic community. So thank you for putting that into perspective and for the good work that you do for the youth in summer, and I'm very aware of it. Tell me here comes my question. With respect to the space, can you tell me a little bit about your observations as to how that is currently being utilised and where you fit in? In other words, is it a case of you coming in and pushing other people out, or is there a peaceful coexistence that you see? Thank you.
Yeah, so there's, at the moment, the library has an issue with young people taking the scaffolds upstairs. They're zooming around. It's quite awesome if you're a young person, but not great for the facility. So I think they've actually closed it off. Sarah will use the main for their theatre group. There's a museum there as well, and there's some other bookings, but from what we can tell, the usage is pretty low. There's the one big space, the sort of training space on the left, and then there's a smaller space on the right. I guess, the details will come later, but we could probably utilise one small space as kind of an HQ, but then particularly after school, we can have all of those spaces, and maybe even just moving down to the library and company out the libraries. So I guess the short answer is we don't see any passion for existing users, and it's probably going to enhance everyone's experience. Plus, we've got 10 or 20 other ideas, other things.
Would it be appropriate to request a staff report, or what's the
Advice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there have to be more work behind it, but
Yeah.
we can ask for advice around it to
Sure.
start a process.
Thank you.
Sarah? Oh, sorry, Tim first and then Sarah.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I've been really confused again. I've even been to the way back when etc. And I've also heard your education since. So very interested in hearing your proposal. And like Daryl, I'm thinking, well, what is the next step that can shape it up into something? So I think we're in fact what we're suggesting for the next step. What is your suggestion for the next step?
Okay. Well, I mean, I assume you have a number of ways of doing this, but there might be an expression of interest process or some other thing. We want to do it more officially. We can write a business case. We really have written it. We would want to have conversations with all the other groups who have an interest in the area in terms of the current, but also to think about what the vision is, because there's room for everybody in here, and the place is a beautiful building, which is, well, we have the data, but we think it's underutilized. So, wouldn't it be great if that was way more accessible to people in summer? There was much more of a hub feeling, there was things happening in the day, there was some things happening at night. There was, we've been parenting courses to our Maori courses and movie nights, all sorts. And we wouldn't do all that, but we could be the group that kind of hosts that, and then be able to have a more informal way of dealing with other community members that they probably then find as an incentive to use it.
Oh, thank you. Sarah.
No, I was just going to suggest a way forward rather than ask the question.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to check. Do you know who owned the building, and if there was any conditions around you staying there for you to find an alternative, or how soon do you need to?
So it's Patrick. He owns the building. He's sold it, and I think the handover is September, October. Our lease goes to February. So our deadline is February. we would use cosmetics with otherwise we're going to be out of the road.
But I just wonder whether part of the advice can be around maybe a transitional or a temporary kind of use, because I'm just aware, like, we've got the election coming up, and we've got to wait for people to get, council gets sworn in, community would get sworn in, then it's sort of the holiday period. So by the time, you know, any sort of firm decision in terms of permanent could be made, it might be
ready by then.
tight with the time frame, but maybe we could look at like a temporary, some sort of temporary activation from the advice that we get back.
Yeah.
Can I ask to answer a question there? I think we would be interested in, of course, like a bridging arrangement. We probably wouldn't be interested in this kind of like, we can stay for now, but we'll see what happens, because we kind of need to do that. So we probably need to know it's going to be leading to like negotiation rather than just wrong. Because we probably didn't get it.
Yeah, but we have to go to local government, maybe processes, so we have to be quite, you know, structured in how we do that. But I mean, I just think it's part of the advice might come back that it can be done relatively easy and quick, but I was just mindful of the timing and didn't want to get to a situation where you get kicked out, but there's no way for you to actually go on even as an individual. I think that would be a real tragedy.
We'd be more than happy with that. It's more just like, do we agree with a partner? Then we'll look at the
Sarah?
Thanks. Which I think of it, with a potential transitional, because only throughout that whole decision making is to do leases and memorandum decision making processes, and they take ages. And if we just ask for advice, it would then probably go to the next community board, because it would be after the election, and that would only just be the advice before starting the process. So if we were to ask staff to work with you on arrangements for you to use the space while we go through an expressions of interest, so there's two things: you need somewhere to be, but there's also the opportunity for you to operate and activate the space, and they're kind of a little bit separate. So even if potentially you were operating and activating the space, if someone else put something forward to do that, you could still be in the space using it for the trust. So we can do both of those. So we could find a way for you to be using the space while we go through that. But I don't think that's somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It's not ideal.
I understand. One would sort of be like a leasing tenant, the other one would be more like a manager.
That's it.
And then we might be both, and we might just be one.
So is it reliant on you being sort of operating, activating? I'm just thinking if it's a transitional space, you kind of want that to be thinking you were going to be in there permanently or for a while.
I can see it's chicken and egg. Like, we would just be realistic, and if we start on a conversation and we go first and then we see how this one goes, that's still fine.
I think
there's definitely space for you to be sort of in the tenant wise, if you like, with regular use of those kind of things. Clearly space. I mean, I couldn't bring up the dashboard that we got sent through. I couldn't bring it up.
You need to be on the council network.
Oh, okay. No, it was, but so but I think we do it be two pronged.
One of the issues for the library is our open sessions are on Wednesday and Friday, so to actually move the end of the week, it's going to be open at least a week, between like 3 and 6 and 5. So we're going to change our program, which we're happy to do. So we're bringing up staffing and all that. So that's the ether.
We have mutual benefit. Be good for everyone. Thank you.
You just need to ask for an AO.
So
for elected members exchange, or are you going to do it now? I'm sorry.
What would you like? We could do it.
We can do it now.
Do it now.
Yep. If it's quick.
But I was going to suggest that well, requesting advice means that
it's not starting anything.
That nothing happens until after the second meeting after the election with a brand new community board who don't know the area. So I'm just wondering if we could request staff work with the Shore Youth Trust on use of the facility as a start. In the new year.
Use
And
the
also-
facility by Fuse.
Work with them on this facility, and also request that they start an EOI process for managing and activating Taco Zone Centre.
The shoreline want to manage.
Yeah, it was managed, wasn't it? Manage and activate, or something like that.
Yeah.
And everyone's happy with that process? Yep, cool, fabulous. All right, well, thank you.
Does it need a resolution?
Pardon?
Does it need a resolution?
Doesn't have a resolution of public forum.
No, so we have
No,
to do
but we
this in
can-
elected
but we've
members
got something
exchange.
about yeah, and
Yeah,
Start to work, but
okay.
it's not a resolution. Cool,
Not
okay.
yet.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you coming this afternoon. Thank you.
Does it need a resolution at elected members exchange? I think so.
Pardon?
Yeah, I think it needs a resolution and elected members exchange. You can't
don't want it to get lost.
just,
Won't get lost.
Well, let's do the same thing again.
well, just have a resolution. It's just that this is just a.
Yeah, okay. So we are moving on now to item 5, which is our deputations. And our first deputation we have Jamie. Thank you so much for your patience this afternoon. I hope you've not just been sitting there not doing anything.
I haven't.
Oh, we don't.
I just
Need your microphone changed.
Yeah, I'm just.
Oh, we're just changing the microphone, Jamie.
You've got to go on mute.
The thank you.
Too loud.
And Jamie needs to unmute. That's it. Hello, Jamie. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, we can hear you. Look, it's great to have you with us this afternoon, Jamie. Just letting you know that this is being live streamed and recorded. So you can check it out once you've finished with us today. But we thank you so much for coming and speaking with us. I know this is a really important thing that's very dear to your heart.
Yeah.
And you're joining us from Australia. So thank you.
I am.
Very cool. You're our first international person to sit around the table with us. So thank you for being with us this afternoon. Now you've got your 10 minutes, Jamie, but you can leave time at the end for questions. We'd really appreciate that. So in your own time, fire away.
So in 2011, as you guys probably know, there were the earthquakes, and my mum and another woman, Betty Dixon, she died. They died together in their shop, Wick's Fish. So I was just in 2015, Dad and the Dixon family, they were trying to get something put down, like a plaque or something, but nothing's happened. So I decided to get something put down for them to remember them. And I don't know, I was kind of hoping that I'm hoping that it would happen. They do come to New Zealand. They leave for New Zealand tomorrow. Just for my dad and my stepmom. They leave for New Zealand tomorrow, and like just for a holiday. And yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, Jamie. And I know it feels like, well, it has been a very long time. So you've been very patient, and yeah, appreciate you joining us so much today. How long are they in New Zealand for as well? Oh, we've
Can't
just
hear
gone
you.
mute
We've
again.
lost you.
Oh, no. Is that
You're in the
disappear?
right. Yeah, I'm in the right
Okay.
place.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you
Can
there?
you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened then.
For about 2 weeks.
Cool, thanks, Winnie.
They know that he's contacted him.
Oh yeah, that I'm assuming you're aware that you're online with us today.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, cool.
It's easy to go.
Yeah.
Jamie, it's Sarah here. I'm just wondering, do you think they'd like to meet with council staff about the possibility of getting a plaque or something similar there?
I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't really want to do that to my stepmom because, well,
Yeah. It's,
I don't think that'd be fair on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very thoughtful. Well, we can, oh yes,
Jamie has been advised of the staff advice that
Oh,
was sent. And Jamie, if I may say on your behalf, you replied back to me that you would like to look at a generic plaque in the footpath that doesn't name your mum and Betty individually.
Yeah.
And if you could just confirm that with the board, please, Jamie.
Yeah, I would like a plaque in the footpath that doesn't really specify their names, I guess.
cool. Well, look, we can definitely.
Here's a question.
Oh, sorry, I've got a question from Yanni first.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Probably the cost.
Thank you, Jamie. I know. I mean, I know this must be really a difficult thing to go through. So I just want to acknowledge, thank you for coming forward and pursuing this. It's also been something that I've really wanted to see for a long time as well. So I understand our council staff advice, which they're quite resistant to having specific names mentioned.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you've said, that, you'd kind of be okay with it, but I guess I just wanted to get a sense of, would your first preference still be to have them actually named and recognised?
Yeah, it would be. But obviously, I don't really care whether there is or not. I do prefer that there would be, just as long as there is something there, I guess, to remember them.
Yeah, okay. And sorry, I don't know if the staff has sort of talked through, but one of the other things that we've done in other places has been also to plant a tree in memory as well. Is that something staff talk to you about? Or?
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, so in other places like in Latimer Square, we've planted a tree in memory, of those who had lost their lives as a way of, just recognising it. So I just, in terms of the council staff, have they talked to you about what the different options would be, other than just a plaque, a seat is another?
Yeah, we did advise Jamie about a seat that could go into Doris Lusk Park with his the family would need to come to take it.
I feel like that'd be a bit hard as we are in Australia. So yeah. Whichever's easiest, I guess, for us.
Yeah, okay. But I guess the key thing is that staff can work through what the options would be with you and your family around what would be most appropriate.
Yeah. I feel like a plaque would be most appropriate outside.
Yeah. Thank you.
We can ask staff the questions when it comes to time. Yeah.
So Jamie, we have some staff coming to speak to us a little bit later on. So we can ask them those questions around the implementation of that.
Pardon?
We can ask them some questions around the implementation of that.
Yeah.
So they'll be with us, not too far down the track. So look, do we have any more questions for Jamie at all? Look, Jamie, I want to say thank you so much, and it's so cool that you've come and joined us this afternoon, and again, thank you for your patience. But I think what you're doing is really amazing, and it'll be pretty beautiful to get this up and running and have it actually in the streetscape where it is most appropriate. I totally agree with you. That's exactly what you're doing. And yeah, really, really important to keep that memory alive. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can stay online if you like for our discussions with the staff. But if you've got better things to do, totally understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, and obviously because this is all recorded, if you did want to jump off, you can watch it back later too. But also staff will be in touch with you following the meeting too.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Very brave.
Yeah, that was very brave. Okay, we are moving on to our next deputation. So this is the Scarborough Fair Cafe, and we have Lyndon with us. Hello, Lyndon. Kia ora. So you're aware of the fact that we are recording the meeting and it's live streamed, and you have 10 minutes. And if you'd like questions at the end, then please leave some time. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you. So as you know, the council's been quite good on swimming pools in the playground in the past, and it's several cities. And the cafe, I think it was in early 2000s, was just oblong tea rooms, and we've got extended, and there's a serving bench associated with that. So take away the nice thing that we sit in. So at the moment, it's too small for the purposes, becomes a festival down there on a busy weekend day, and so we'd just like to extend the second patch about this far and move an internal wall, which is not structural or frozen. So yeah, that's the idea around it, just so we can put more space in there. And yeah, so that's that part of it. Also, we just want to acknowledge that we took over the cafe on April Fool's Day 2020. Quite a bit it was, but it's Maria and Grant at the council for the time we've been there, and we've just had a few improvements at the cafe as well. And mother-in-law's donated an AED. I don't know if you've seen it on the outside of the cafe. And we're father-in-law, so that's the only AED that's 24/7 available. And outside of Sumner Bay. And another thing we do for the community is we host the skateboarders after hours on the best rail outside the back door, as well as the playground, as well as the pool when it's not full. And also the Scarborough, because we open up at 7 AM rather than 8 the previous time, and sort of treated as the artificial club rooms. So the board's not going to be every Friday morning at 7 o'clock, rain, hail, shine. And it's great to see them, and yeah, so it's become a really good community there. The only one thing we don't have for them is wheelchair access to the beach, which would be really nice. And we've also, obviously improved the inside of the cafe with more equipment and chairs and things like that. So yeah, and the last thing was that we wanted to encourage people to come and cycle to the terminus of the coastal pathway, which is where we are. So we've got a sort of one of those triangular cycle racks out the front that everyone uses, and yeah, looking forward to the completion of that at the end. So yeah, that's any questions.
Cool, thank you so much. And thank you for all the cool community-minded stuff you're doing as well. That's really nice. I've got a couple of questions, Tim and then Daryl.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. my son's out from the USA, and on arrival, he wanted to go somewhere nice for a breakfast. And then the price to go for a week. So guess we went. It was pretty busy too. It's great. My question is, if that has been generic one, are the changes that you're proposing after the years?
Yes, that would be, but yeah. Right.
Daryl?
Thank you. Also, like Tim, I'm a regular at your cafe, enjoy the coffee. But the question is, just confirm for me that from what I've read, there is no increase in terms of the footprint. All you're actually doing is changing the internal structure and a little bit of the outside wall.
That's right, yeah, there's an internal wall, and the door goes into the ice cream shop. We'll just move it on. As far as is.
Thank you.
Yeah, make it on the outside.
And looks good.
Thank you. No other questions? No. Thank you so much.
All right, and it's looking for new members, so.
I think I should, but I'm not.
Thank you. Okay. Presentation of petitions. There were none. Item 12 is correspondence.
This board members, you'll see in your on your devices that we received yesterday, I only got it yesterday, a letter from the Ministry of Health in reply to the board's letter that we sent to the Minister and the Canterbury medical officers about the looking at setting up a health task force for the wastewater. So I'm just tabling that letter, board members.
Do we need to receive it?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Take it in.
Thank you. Second, Tim, all in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, moving on to our joint meeting minutes. That's item 7, page 15. This was our joint meeting with Braiding Cashmere. Do I have a mover for those? Thank you.
Tim.
You were there, Jackie? I'm not sure if Jackie was
No,
actually.
no, you can swap them over.
It doesn't, you don't actually have to do it.
I thought you did for moving, but not moving. I don't know.
I don't even know that. She can move it even though she wasn't there because we're receiving the minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was there. You're the right.
We're receiving them, not
Yeah.
confirming.
Oh, okay. Look at Jackie, you can receive. There we go. Okay, and Tim second, all in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Now we are moving on to the Scarborough Fair Cafe.
Happy to move.
Okay.
Happy to see them.
Oh, come to the table, just. No, do we have any questions for staff or staff? Do you have anything that you would like to share with us? Grant?
Anything that when the women say, well, it's going to help small children that need to see ice cream.
It's just thinking about looking at the pictures again going, and I wasn't going to think about small kids, but we mentioned the wheelchairs and wheelchair access. Of course. I think we're accessibility, sort of windows are keep lower, are they?
Yes, that's right, it's just the first lower, yeah, as well. And a lot of people do use the sort of with wheelchairs and phones from the table.
Cool, thank you.
Cool. All right, well, this is pretty easy. We've got our mover, Sarah. Who was our seconder? Daryl. Okay, thank you. Oh, do you have questions, Yannick? Yeah. What would you like to say?
Oh, I mean, I just want to acknowledge the operator and just to say what a fantastic job that they're doing. And again, I think I said this probably when there was a reassignment of the lease, but it is really good to have a stable community-minded operator doing a real positive in this community. And I'm, 110% behind this. I think it makes a lot of sense. We didn't really talk about the rent bond being paid, but you know, again, I think that's a really sensible thing to do.
Yeah.
And any support that we can give to allowing this operator to continue doing the wonderful work that they do, and I'm all for it.
Cool.
And that's gone good too.
Awesome. Okay, so we have our mover and our seconder. All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you, Carrie.
Just like that.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much for coming. And we'll see you for ice cream later. Oh, sorry. I don't need ice cream. Okay, now we are moving on to our Linwood Village Streetscapes Enhancement. And we have Alana and Hannah, everyone. And we got Barry back. Barry, it's been so long. All right.
Please introduce yourself to the board so they can. Would you please introduce yourself?
So I'm Jake Bradbury. I'm manager of planning and delivery for transport.
I'm Alana Warhost, my project manager for transport team.
Adrian Yen, outgoing project manager, hence why Alana's here.
And everyone's finding our engagement advisor.
I'm Barry Hayes, I'm the scheme designer of the project.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we can click one comment. What is sorry, my brain stopped working here. We can get straight into this. So yeah, if you have extra things that you would like to add to whatever is in front of us, or if there's anything that you'd like to bring up that you think is important that we need to be aware of.
Sure. Yeah, maybe I could start.
Cool.
As the Linwood Village Streetscape Enhancement Project, from a project outcomes perspective, is obviously speed reduction. We want to lower vehicle speeds through Linwood, through Linwood. Safety, as we heard on previous submissions, is safety comes in multiple ways. One is speed of the vehicles, one first and foremost. Second is obviously pedestrian crossing in multiple points because it is quite a busy place. Safety in terms of the roundabout is probably front and center for the transport team, because we do have quite a lot of speed encroachment there. So part of the scheme plan you see there is obviously the planting of the trees. Counterintuitive in terms of we are planting it to obviously obscure so that people don't essentially straight line the roundabout. So again, we are planting the existing roundabout, which is counterintuitive. But again, you know, as I say, safety in terms of speed is probably key. So that's really the project objectives of this. The report do talk about being over budget, and I can talk rather than anybody all the details. I can answer questions to that. But with all projects these days, I mean, supply chains, COVID, etc., labor restrictions, we do have an escalation in quite a lot of our projects. One tangible outcome was 5 increased PVC pipes alone in the last 4 months, and that's just one sliver of quite a lot of cost that we're trying to incur. Listen to some of the other projects that's coming to the full council. I won't be repeating some of those. I mean, there are cost escalation across the board. Level of inflation that's currently tracking over the 6% mark as well. Yeah, so there is a funding shortfall. Going back onto the program, we are acutely aware that we as a project team went out to consult. We closed the consultation and sometimes being criticized from when you actually consult to when shovel gets onto the ground. And this is probably front and center for the project team as well. So obviously getting some continuation is key for the team in terms of closing out the consultation, going back to the submitters, and also having some boots on the ground. It's probably. It was.
Capture that. You know what? Anything else there?
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I've got Jake with a question first.
So in the consultation, I noted that there was a little bit of discussion around exotic or native trees and suggestions were put forward by the community. How have do you have, has any further thought been given to those suggestions? Were they good? Can they be ruled out? And will you close the loop with us if the work isn't done?
Yes, I would. So it was a key thing after our consultation. And you might have seen a name that was mentioned a few times, Robin Guilty. So I've dubbed her the landscape influencer of Linwood. And so we sent our landscape architect out on the road with her, and they did drive by and would change the landscape of the plan. Yeah,
Excellent.
and it'll be detailed in our responses to submitters.
When will that response go out? Approximately, that makes it.
So there was a response, something went out 2 weeks ago, and so they know that there were changes to the landscaping and linked to the report. And then following a decision, then another response will be after.
Cool. And is this the last time we see you? Because I mean, so resolution 99 gives you the ability to straight the construction pending budget. So I'm assuming that I'm assuming we will see you probably at council for an additional.
A standard project, that's how it would work. Yeah, we do consultation and then we do detailed design and construction, give it the budget.
Yeah.
On this, because of the shortfall, we're expecting to be short and then come back to council or annual plan or some way of putting in additional money. So yes, I think you probably see us again.
Yeah.
No, honestly.
So if we hear.
Sarah?
Thank you. Actually, I'm really pleased to see that you've said that you've kind of stuck with the designers to compromising it to cut the budget. Are there any things though that you did pull back from, not necessarily that were in there that you didn't cut, but things that submitters suggested that you would have liked to add had you had the budget because it would have had a better outcome?
Like a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only thing that was likely that we could have followed through on was potentially doing some sort of go-go lights or something like that on the street. That was talked about kind of vaguely and idealistically, and then when budget constraints that kind of needed that discussion. But in terms of the rest of the plan, no, not to compromise.
So is there more interesting lighting, street set stuff? Probably wouldn't be on the street, would be the street from the.
No, it's very, like something on the footpath from the art gallery, and maybe a competition design something.
Yeah, so if we ask you to put that back in, there's something that's a little bit different, because every week is like produce the creative, not just the Central City, right? If we asked you to put that back in, would you be able to give us some wording for what that was and stuff? And we can, if that's something that you would have liked, but budget constraints said no, then we can maybe.
On the same vein, we talk about some artistic features on footpath. We did the group did initially took that little stalk out, but we did talk about getting some money from enlivened spaces. So that kind of feature, artwork feature for the footpath is now put back in. Courtesy of the environment spaces.
Is that kind of like the stuff that's in Boston currently, sort of in the path?
Yeah. So initially in the initial reports, we were not intending to put that back in, but we managed to find the funding and put the cutting from environment spaces. So so that kind of still got put back in rather than the traditional kind of paving. Pick up papers, so that was a nice touch.
And how frequent are the buses in this? I know there's some comments from a couple of people on that whole, it's that whole bike and bus lane, the bus parks there and you're a cyclist all of a sudden you have to swerve around the bus, the cars coming and.
Yeah, so we put an additional 2 bus stops every week.
Yeah. There's
so
what the frequency is on that road, is it 2 minutes or is it?
it's reduced at the moment, obviously, with the labour shortages. But
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about what the long term.
But it's potentially only stopping there, a bus every maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes, even when they ramp them up again.
It's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's 20 minutes at peak and 30 off peak.
Okay, so thank you. I love this.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously you would have heard the deputation that we had at the park. Can we fit that into the scope of the work that is happening, do you think?
The general wording, generic wording, but in the middle of the chair. Yeah, so it could be incorporated. We obviously have the detailed design still. So that's something that we could look at actually. It would be the generic wording. Something like along the lines of in the memory of loss of life in the village on the 27th of February 2011. So that captures all of the loss of life.
Excuse me, that was the book, we gave Jamie that wording and he was quite happy with that wording.
So that has been, suggested to Jamie, but something that we could look at doing again, funding wise. I don't know if it's,
Let's just need to.
We can just add that in both lines.
Like if he doesn't want to stay at one, I'll go back to the plan.
So we could add this resolution.
Yeah. So we'll look at adding that as a resolution to be added into the scope of work. Yeah. We'll work that out from there.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Well.
Yeah.
And just going back to Jane's comment about just providing as much options for Jane as we can. This one should be a area to organising a seat scenario because we do a council do quite a lot of seating and with the general kind of name the park, etc. It's quite simple kind of process. So I don't think this should be a barrier for him if he chooses.
I think that was more of a funding cost thing because it would be a cost to the family. And also from the discussions and the emails that I've seen with Jamie, it appears that he really wants the park outside of where Wicks used to be. So it's actually like appropriate to the location of where they lost their lives. Yeah. But appreciate that you've gone through that and looked into that as well, because that could have been a really cool option. Yeah. Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you. Just looking at the key and the design, and I don't see bike stands, and I know that someone mentioned that because actually when people are biking there and we're encouraging to bike there, you do need somewhere to lock your bikes. And I know we put some in Wilson, and they'll be well used. Are there bike stands here outside the various shops? Like, it's just hard to tell. And if not, any of those into, and I know that there's some internal funding of bike stands.
On the intersection of Worcester Street and Stanmore Road, they come on the Wilton Street.
They need to be relatively close proximity to each of the sort of main shopping goods.
Yeah.
There is 8.
So outside the art.
A gallery.
Yeah, and but further along sort of the shopping, but if someone's going to the shop on their bike, they're either going to have to lock it to like a lamppost, or but people will be reluctant to bring their bikes if they don't have any lockage because they don't want it stolen.
Yeah,
that was a comment.
Or they're going to the butchery, which is another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have one that goes, parallel.
Yeah.
So that even if you just put one bike up against it, you don't need it to be you know, perpendicular to the footpath.
We can look in detail. Sorry.
So if we put a regulation in it, I think that'd be
Yeah.
great.
But investigate again.
Yeah.
And another quick one, perhaps, because we're looking.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We don't have it, but Shane does. The, perhaps when we're looking at the design for the park, if it's something built into the footpath or I think that was discussed. Even though it's generic wording, there was only one loss of life or two loss of life in the Linwood village. It could be placed close to the former site of the works.
Yeah, that's what he wants.
A little
Yeah.
something like that would make it a lot more personal. No, it's generic.
Cool. Okay, what, Yanni?
Yeah, I was just trying to understand how much of this is just reworking what we already have there. I couldn't quite tell from the plan, particularly on like the Worcester Street, how much is being replaced.
Yeah, quite a bit. So the items in bold are the new curve changes. So that you need to draw there. So if we start from say outside the Stanmore fishing trips, you see that the new curves are highlighted in bold. That's all new curves, and essentially what we're doing there is building out to create more pedestrian flow at intersections. So the areas involved are new curves, raised platforms at the Hereford Street and Stanmore Road intersection. So that's all new, including the median. Raised platforms again at Stanmore Road with 30K with a 30K speed limit, so that's new. And so is the associated curves. There's a mid-block crossing outside number 79 Stanmore.
Sorry, it's not a crossing.
And new curves again outside the Linwood Inside Gallery and Asian Market.
But it just, so in terms of the cycle, the creation and cycle way, obviously we've had complaints about the safety of that design, and there's been when people put the wheelie bins out, you've seen what happens. Is there any of those things taken?
Yeah, but the short answer no, because the project area for the Linwood Village focus specifically on the Linwood Village, so as opposed to the Linwood Street.
So I know, like with council, we generate, there's all sorts of policies and things that people come up with, but in terms of the earthquake memorial, in terms of like with the names of the victims on it, is that a specific council policy that's been adopted by council? Or is that something that is just a kind of general preference?
It came up when the King's Education School brought a report, wanted to have individual names recorded. And it went to council, and council decided that the two memorials would be the main Christchurch Memorial at the terrace, and Avonhead Park has the individual names listed there. It's that.
Right. So
Because the King's Education, I understand when I quickly read the report yesterday, was to look at individual names at the CTV building site.
So it just yeah, okay. I'm just sort of reading through that. I mean, I just think by as a council, we can deviate from policy. We just have to specify why. And from my point of view, given the obviously this, we talked about the deaths of 2 people at the site, so it's not a huge number to recognise. To me, I would like us to see what the options were to named in the file.
It went to the planning committee and council on the 27th of September 2012. And the report was for the King's Education Memorial request. And that's been council on particular item C3. Remembrance plaques are to employ generic wording and not list individual names and recognise the wider loss of life and trauma of the event. And it continues.
Yeah, no, I understand all the rationale behind it and the fact that it is a resolution, but council can deviate from policy or previous decisions if it thinks that there's a good case. It just has to call it out. So
Meaning it would have to be council, we would have to make a recommendation to council.
Yes.
Because as a board, we can't do that.
yeah,
We can look at the detailed design anyway. It's a simple matter of changing that.
And if the thing would be.
We still have to ask council for that deviation from policy.
and also like thinking like for me like recognizing what's happened here, and given that we are spending money on the upgrade of this area, like do we have any new settings that's going in?
I probably won't come to. I think that's the design. Or it's the green.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I just thought a cost was a barrier to having it say, I'd be happy for the board to consider just incorporating it into existing work.
I think we've
Like a trade.
we heard from Jamie, and Jamie wanted a plaque in the street, like that
Yeah,
was his
I-
thing.
yeah.
So, yeah.
That's-
So I think sticking
agree.
with what's requested by the people that lost their family members is quite important.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And just the other thing I want to check, yeah, like reading the eight, and I think we had a previous deputation around some sort of Stanmore Road corridor. Is there a bigger piece of work that's looking at the connection come through on Stanmore Road down to Brooklyn?
It's great.
Yeah, it was a local cycleway connection.
We had a deputation
Yes,
and a public.
it was a local cycleway connection.
It's actually was part of the cycleway program.
Yeah.
Cycleway program. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, that's correct.
Right, because I think what puzzles me with this, and maybe, I mean, again, it may be beyond your control, but just when we did the walkabout as a community board, we went up to the Casher Street roundabout as well. And it does seem like if you're gonna do the treatment on Harrison Street as a roundabout, you probably also want to kind of extend it up to like Casher Street, given that that's much more likely a place where people may cycle because of the.
So is that like out of scope though? Like it's
Yeah,
not the
no,
area
it's,
we
yeah,
can-
because this is the master plan, so this is
Yes,
part of the
all-
post-earthquake
Yeah.
suburban regeneration
Thank
program.
you. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so this only goes up to Hereford. What we're doing at Hereford is actually part of the safety program.
Yeah.
Rather than the master plan.
Yeah, thank you.
And the only other question I had was in regards to the budget. And it does seem kind of like there is a change proposal request that isn't identified in here. So rather than delay it for another year's budget, which probably the price may get even more expensive, so we get this opportunity to do it. Have staff gone through the change request proposal, and if not, why not? Or if so, what was the outcome?
Yeah, so that was part of why the report was delayed for about 4 odd weeks because we were trying to identify potential candidates to which the platform. Short answer is we haven't identified where the funding is coming in from just now. And that's why part of the resolution is for us to proceed with the detailed design, because once we proceed with the design, it provides a little bit of clarity. Is the shortfall actually the shortfall, or can we do some more heavy engineering? So by progressing the design in parallel of this finding the funding, hopefully that will A, address potential candidates, and B, if there's any value engineering can be added through the design phase.
Oh, sorry, can I add to that? I was going to say there is one relatively obvious candidate for a change request, but it affects another community board. So it's that would be a council decision. So we need to know how much it costs and what the implications of that are before I say what that is.
But like, saying from the change, like, there's been 500,000 taken off the minor improvement safety budget that's been reallocated to another project. And guess trying to understand what would have been allocated for this instead.
The minor safety, the works in Heritage Street are minor safety, so the money has been moved from the minor safety into this project, so we can do all of this as well. So this includes a chunk of budget from minor safety.
Cool, that's great. Thank you. Okay, if there are no other questions for staff. No, we're good. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And thank you for, we've obviously got a few extra words that Sarah has put together for a few wee additions. Are you okay, Jake?
Oh, no, I just said, that's good.
Yeah. So you're like, I've got more. But no, that's really fantastic. So we'll pop those through as resolutions. But thank you for all of your work on this. Really appreciate it. It's been a wee way coming. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Most of the conversation was around the and Robert's.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe yeah, so it's my scribble. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple of,
Yeah, there were notes around them. I usually do that.
I will still tweak it probably tomorrow.
we have a couple of additions. So we're up to number 100. There's a few resolutions. So request staff to incorporate in the detailed design a cycle stands.
No, not A. It's
No,
cycle stands.
A.
Yep.
Cycle stands. Sorry, not
A.
B dot. Mark to acknowledge the loss of life in the 2011 earthquake outside the former works fish and chip shop. C dot. The proposed creative lighting feature.
Can I just, sorry, can I just maybe add cycle stands as close as possible to the shops?
Yeah.
Because currently they're down by the community out, and actually they're on quite a steep angle and your bike wants to roll off into the road.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
To the shopping precinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shopping precinct.
Yeah.
Just because it's quite a bit.
Yeah, there might be like
There's two lots.
maybe even if you've just got 4 dots.
Precincts. I've put precincts because there's 2 bits.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That resolution, excuse me, board members, that resolution may not sit there because when I look at it tomorrow,
It may be moved.
it'll be moved around, but we've just popped it at the end for convenience tonight.
Yeah.
That is fabulous. Thank you so much. Okay, with that being said, do I have a mover? Jake, second it, Sunita. Lovely. Any discussion on this?
Shall I bring it up? Yeah, as we're in here, as you remember hearing, the plaque is going to cost some money. So is this the time to request? Do you want to say?
No, I don't think it's necessary. It can come out of the project budget. This isn't a DRF. No, it's a project budget. They've said they'll go to the annual plan for it. So let's do that.
Incorporate it into the detailed design.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got Jake and Sunita.
It was a great idea.
All in favour.
Aye.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, I didn't make you speak.
Oh,
Everybody's positive and it's good.
yeah.
Yay. No, it's very exciting. Okay, we are now moving on to our discretionary response fund application.
Kathy.
Kathy, hi. Thank you for waiting. Sorry. Good. I'm pleased you feel that way. Thank you. Okay, so we've got the, what is this one? The Dance Academy, the time of my saute. How do I say that?
Yeah, that's right.
Saute Dance
Saute.
Academy. Saute.
Mm.
Saute. Saute.
Dance.
Yes.
Asa, mine.
Maya. Happy to move.
Fabulous. So do we have any questions for Kathy at all? Is there anything that you would like to add?
The Chieftain application, I've got some.
Okay, I think we've read it and it looks great. No, I think it's all good. Cool. Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you for waiting. Oh, cool, thank you. You're amazing, thank you. Okay, so we've got our mover and seconder, Sarah and Sunita. Fabulous. Is there any discussion? No. All in favour? Carried, thank you. Yay. Okay, moving on to elected members information exchange. Jackie.
Do we know if we have a date for the meeting from the traffic? I know it's coming out before the elections, but do you have a date for the
There is, and I have no idea, and I can't get into my emails, so there is, but I'll send it out. Yeah, it's a community. Yeah.
Sarah? Okay, we've just got Sarah asking a question.
I know well advice that we probably don't necessarily need it, but it would be our normal practice to make some sort of resolution on things like the Shoreline Youth Trust for us and staff to do something. And I don't want any risk of it being lost with the change of boards and that kind of stuff. And it also shows, because it's a public resolution, it shows the community that we're acting on something rather than just it being within the organisation somewhere. So I'd quite like us to just to move a resolution asking for that process with Shoreline Youth Trust.
Can't remove a resolution and elected member information exchange. Also, we already have an action point up in the public forum, which doesn't get lost, it stays in the action report.
You can make a resolution, but we can't make a decision.
Well, it's.
No, you can request staff advice, which you have done on the public forum.
You can make a resolution. We've done it before.
Yeah.
Back in the. Two different answers there.
It is true.
Right, so I'm just going back to my notes.
I'm not aware of anywhere in standing orders where it's specific can't be that.
No, neither am I.
So could we just maybe then
Well,
use the wording?
We've got it back in the public forum area.
It needs a resolution.
But it's on the temporary use of the facility by Shoreline Trust and request an EIO for managing and activating the space for them of the MTs and the seat, which means.
So, okay, so if that's underway, then how about in the next meeting, we will have our final governance report. If we're able to have something in our governance report on it.
It's signed off and closed.
Is it already?
Yeah.
2 weeks out.
Yesterday.
12 days out.
Wow. Does it have the fun state park?
No.
All right. We have had like that.
Well, if we want to do it, we can do it and
take
And
it.
if internally the organisation decides not to accept it, then
We can take it out of the
we can't make decisions on things.
No. But you've already got the action sitting up in the public forum area.
And that will be in the minutes.
Yes.
yeah,
Because you've
that would
requested it.
definitely be
It's
in the
just like,
minutes, yeah.
if you look at the minutes I've done before, there's always new items with the request, and that request always goes through to the action report and the public minutes.
I think
doubling
Sarah's-
up in the minutes.
I think
just take it
Sarah's
out of the other one.
Yeah.
I think Sarah's just feeling uncomfortable that it's going to be forgotten when we're going into new boards.
Yeah, I think that transfer of inflation stuff. Yeah,
I'm happy for us to do that if other people are happy to do that.
As the board advisor, you
Yeah.
will be doubling up on the minutes, which actually make it look.
Okay,
It's always.
if we
it's
need
in
to
the
do
public
something next,
forum
we'll
area.
check on it in the meantime. If we need to do it next week, next meeting we will. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. We're all happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So next
Okay.
thing then, so we've received the notes from the Ainsley Terrace meeting with staff connect with residents. And just noting that there's a significant amount of work to be done down there. And that we've got those, and there's a staff member sort of tasked to working through those with members of the community, and want to note really that that's happening, and those members' information has changed, and there's it's information that they're waiting for, new stuff to do, and we need to keep on top of that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Tim?
Yeah, just updating that with the Airbnb stuff, council have got someone having a look at the impact on specific suburbs, some being one of them. And Daryl suggested I look out for that. Very kindly. Well, we agree. So just an update. I've spoken with Charlie Hudson, the CRA. She's also been involved and has consulted with a lot of people within Summer, is building the story. And separately, both myself and Charlie are meeting with this person next week to put in a full read.
Cool. That's awesome.
So it's quite a bit.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Tim. Sarah?
Right, I went to the Mataku Community Theatre Cabaret, which is lovely. And there's some media and stuff around it because the group's really struggled over the last couple of years with COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
But they also mentioned that they had to turn some people who wanted to come and see it away because the lift's not been working. And so people could request some advice on the repairs to the lift.
Is that not a CSR?
No, they've already put it through as a CSR, but
I've already put it through as a CSR.
yeah, it's already as a CSR. It's just that it'll be quite nice to get the information through to the board, not just, because I think there's been some sort of delays because there's issues with the roof, which has been leaking, which is why they can't just fix the lift first because of the electronics.
They can't, because of the electronics, but it's gone on for such a long time. That until I put the CSR on about a month ago, it had gone on for a couple of months before that.
Yeah, so we want some information when it's going to be fixed and not just,
This is at the library.
Yeah.
Thank you. Making sure.
The problem has been exacerbated because people can't get up to the museum. Mums with prams and people who have a disability find it difficult to access.
So it's not just a CSR to get it fixed, it's actually information board on the progress and timeframes and stuff.
Yep.
Would be great.
Okay, we can.
And if that could be, rather than waiting for an area report for the next board and stuff, that could just, as soon as the information comes through.
My understanding is they're working on it currently.
Yeah.
Because I got a response to my CSR.
Oh, good.
And the CSR suggested that they were starting that week.
Oh, cool.
Which is why I didn't feel the need to report it to the board. So I would actually be surprised that the problem's not actually resolved.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Sarah hadn't got back to me to say that, so she'd asked me to raise it.
No, ask Daryl if you could forward the CSR number to me so I can look in the system for it. It's easy and quicker for me if I know the number.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Yanni.
Yeah, I just wondered if we knew when the Lancaster Park thing is coming back to go up for consultation.
Yes, it's coming to the next meeting.
Right. Okay, and then there's a suggestion that there's going to be some planting done as well, like some community plantings. I'm just concerned that happens.
Late September.
So you'll get the report at the next meeting.
But the plan is draft to go up for consultation. So why are we doing planting?
Well, you need to ask the project manager that at the next meeting, Yanni.
Okay, so we'll have a chance before the planting to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to ask something about that as well?
Yeah, Sam, if you move that, move on to another topic.
Yeah, I was. So
You have to take your mic off. There we go. I like it counts when you just talk over people. Easier. The Lancaster Park, Viviana came along and spoke, and they were under the impression, so maybe we brought it up on their behalf, you and I, but I think Alex, but they were under the impression
What impression was around it? That the building.
Would have an impact on
Yeah.
the Phillistown hub moving forward, but there has been assurance.
Can we not back that, I guess was the question.
I've spoken to Viviana, and I think that, yeah, we're all good with that, yeah. Yeah, no, perfect.
When it comes back to the board, we really get a sense of what's been agreed with the sporting codes around facilities. Because that's the thing that the community group was quite concerned about, that those decisions actually change what they can and can't do in terms of the plan that they're developing. So hopefully when it comes back to the board, we can just make sure that, you know, that everything is on the table rather than just one component of it.
I've also got on my list that I would be letting Viviana know that the report is coming to the.
True.
Once now that our agenda closed yesterday at 5 o'clock, so I had to wait till it was actually confirmed that it was coming to the board. And she's on my list to let know, as well as the Charleston Residents Association.
Yeah.
Can I just check with the Bromley stuff, like so we don't have a time frame for anything happening, or we do, I'm not quite sure. So when's the kind of next report back to the board around the money's on budget, the community group's been meeting, but when are we going to get visibility of what's being requested?
That will go to the new board. It's not going to come to this board.
Right.
There's only one more meeting. As I explained when I spoke to the last area report, the group has met, they've got to know each other, they have met with the project group to understand what their role is in terms of community engagement. I can't tell you the date of the next one because I wasn't prepared, and I can't actually open my diary or I'd be able to look for it. But when the group meets next time, they're looking for quick wins on the ground, as I said when I reported in the last area report. But that's as much information as I can give you until they meet again next. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, because I think the board's discussed, can we just get some of the stuff, like systems cracked up, for example, that the stuff that we've done the work on that we're not funding through crack. But now that we've got the Bromley money, we can hopefully get on and do it. So can I just, the other issue around the Linwood and
Yana, you'd be the first person to complain if work was done without the community being consulted. You can't have it both ways.
We did consult the community quite extensively.
We haven't consulted on anything that's being done on the ground. There are no detailed designs. That work is yet to come.
Yeah.
And it will come
with the community over those crack projects, and staff have done an assessment.
With engagement.
So yeah, so I mean, I'm not saying you want to get it with no consultation, but just to get the ball rolling, so that some of those things that have already been looked at, maybe they can be done. I guess my concern is that if we get to the middle of next year and then have to carry forward some of that funding that we're going to spend it, then you know it just would be a shame.
Well, it's very unfortunate, but the board insisted on a site visit, which only happened a week or 2 weeks ago, and so the craft work couldn't begin until the site visit had been completed. You know,
I'm talking about the craft Bromley projects that weren't funded through.
It's the same project. The craft project is the same project no matter where it is, and the Bromley project actually needs to be designed with the community. They aren't the same project, but the craft stuff is different than the Bromley project, but the Bromley project must be done with the community, and that process is in place.
Right. Okay. And then the other one was around the Linwood and the sports fields and the marking. Like, do we have any visibility when that's coming back?
There wasn't a memo that came back about Linfield.
Yeah, and it had 3 different kind of things that could be done.
Then you asked for something else. Sorry, Yanni, it has not come back.
Right. Just the other thing I wanted to raise, and it was good news I got after sending the email around was Village Place, that there was a misspelling on the sign that was contrary to what the board had agreed. And for whatever reason, I was told to be approached as a councillor, but the staff have said today that they're actually just going to go away and remedy the situation, which is good news. But given that the board actually formally resolved the correct spelling, I'm not quite sure how we got into the situation we got, but at least it's been. really
I'd like to
discussion.
explain that, Kiani. I did a little bit of investigation on it. We have found the LINS database, New Zealand Post database, and the board resolution are correct. Unfortunately, we have a program called Smart Map, which our contractors work with, and it was spelt incorrectly on that map. So that is why there's so we've been told that the sign blade, that's what a street sign is called, sign blade. The order has now been put in today, and it will be there probably by the end of next week.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for people that have followed that up. As I said, the person that had logged the concern with council was told to approach the local council because there was some contrary thing. So
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why, but the key because it's been resolved. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. So thank you for following up. So was able to do that.
Okay. Anyone else?
No.
No.
Yes,
Oh, yes, Clark.
board members, you will see that I haven't had any answer back to my email about any extra people being invited for next Wednesday.
It's their family. Yeah.
Their family.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead with that. And if you could let us know by Monday if you are attending, because we're having a very light refreshment, cup of tea.
Something to eat.
Very light. But if you could just email back, please.
Cool. Fabulous.
And we'll be meeting over there at 4:30, so it's the poll.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I think that is us. Just before we finish with karakia, thank you, everybody. It was actually a pretty good meeting today, so.
What was actually a pretty good day.
Actually, like, it's good. We stuck to the task most of the time, so it's good. Second to last meeting, we're getting there, guys. All right.
Right, now we just have that.
Karakia.